American dream is dead. But if I get elected president, I will bring it back bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
2016, year of the snake. It's time for a change in the White House, y'all. Bring it. If you want the real deal, then you gotta get a real leader. Want a real leader, then we need a real man. Build a wall, deal with all them terrorists. America needs a man that can. If you wanna feel safe in your own backyard, one choice. You gotta play your Trump card. I say Trump.
Go to work. Yes, we can. Go to work. We're a go to work show over here. Staying home is killing the world. Killing the world. We're going to talk a little bit about it tonight. Folks, welcome to the show. Go ahead and click the share button if you can. Let folks know we are live. We're going to be talking about what the fear shamers and the germo fascists and the shutdowners are doing to try to frighten you into staying home. Don't be frightened. Don't be frightened. Be smart. Be smart.
All staying strong with the art of the deal. If you like your eyes, if you love, there's one choice, the only one. When I say Trump, you say hail high.
Hey, Tammy, good to see you. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Thank you for sharing, Teresa. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. We're just letting folks come on into the room, y'all. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I do like that. I do like that. I think we all do.
What about the ability to work a job?
We would love that again. We want that again.
You know who we need? This thing starts with a T and ends with a Trump.
It's the only hope right now. Just facts, guys. Just facts. Make America great again. How's it going, Loretta? Good to see you. Dennis, good to see you. Trump. Trump. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. You are watching the one and only Trump Talk US live in DC with Suzzanne Monk. I am Suzzanne Monk. We're 8 minutes away from our nation's beautiful capital, right over there out the window here. We're about 15 minutes away from the White House. You know what? We're probably about 12 minutes away from the White House because no traffic. No traffic because they've shut down DC, just like they've shut down so many places across the country. I want to give a shout out to my good friend Diane Ventura with the Trump towel. There you are. You can see the Trump towel. Good to see you too, Loretta. I'm doing a later show today. We had some folks in. Darlene and I from Texas. My great Texas Patriots were in town visiting, so we had a chance to enjoy some company and wanted to go live afterwards. We'll have Chris McDonald in the room in just a minute representing Trump Talk US. That's my Monkin. That's my Monkin right there. He'll be in here sometime. So Folks, I wanted to do my show tonight talking specifically about what the left, we know it's the left, what the left is doing to continue, how's it going, Erica, to terrorize you into being afraid, to being afraid of standing up for your rights, to being afraid of speaking out against these shutdowns, to be afraid of speaking out in favor of the economics of the issue, not just talking about the health issue, but also the economics. You know, economics are just as important as public health. In fact, economics are public health. I say this a million times. I say this to the folks who call me in the middle of the night and try to prank call me. We'll tell you about that story in a minute. I say it over and over and over again. Economic stability is one of the most important factors to public health. If I cannot provide a roof over my head, food for my belly, and access to basic care, okay, Band-Aids, vitamins, water, I'm not going to be healthy. If I don't have a job that I can go to and earn money so that I can provide those things for my family, I'm not going to be healthy. And here's a news flash for all you folks who want to implement socialism and say, well, we can just pay people to sit at home. That is the surefire, quickest way to ensure a lack of health. I hate to break it to you guys. We are already providing a great deal of services to the lower economic strata of our society. We're providing food stamps. We're providing financial assistance for housing, childcare, etc. Okay, we're pouring money into the poor folks. We still have higher rates of heart disease, higher rates of diabetes, higher rates of cancer, higher rates of almost every single health problem in the economically strapped community. Now, interestingly enough, if you look at all those diseases, if you look at the medical realities of what might cause disease, obviously there are environmental factors, there's dietary factors, there's physical activity factors. There are also stress factors. In fact, doctors frequently tell us that stress is the biggest killer of all of them. Bigger than obesity, bigger than smoking, bigger than diabetes, bigger than all of these conditions. Stress is going to add to all of those health issues, your heart conditions, your diabetic conditions, your cancer conditions, your inability, your flus, your upper respiratory, your asthma, okay, all of these chronic upper respiratory conditions. Stress adds to each and every one of those. Stress is a huge killer. Why do we see these diseases more in the impoverished community? In part, and I would say a large part, based on the stress of not having enough resources to provide for your family. When you know where your next meal is coming from, where your next month of rent is coming from, where your next electric bill is coming from, you are calmer. That's just a fact. A fact. You're right, Dennis. We see more divorce as well. Dennis mentions a divorce. We see more divorce as well for this exact same reason, because of the stress of the situation. Because being poor creates a lot of stress. So this idea that socialists have, if everyone was just equally poor, we all just had just enough to get by, somehow that would be a utopian society. No, we die sooner, we die more miserably, and we would have less healthy relationships, less healthy children, less everything, less hope. This is what we're killing with this whole idea that we're having of the shutdowns, with taking away people's ability to earn their own living, to make their own money, that proud, beautiful system we have where each individual has the dignity of work and of taking care of themselves, the confidence, knowing that I'm the one who's going to get up, go out and make the money, bring home the bacon, fry it up in the pan. That old adage, that confidence creates generations and generations of success. That lack of confidence, that feeling that you can't make it on your own unless the government provides you a check, that creates generations of poverty, sickness, shorter lifespan, all of it. So this idea that we can just have a basic income and it's going to make this beautiful place is a death sentence to everything we stand for in this country. to freedom, to private property ownership, to opportunity itself. Welfare crushes opportunity. It always has. It always will. I understand people, they get in situations, they need some sort of safety net. I'm not opposed to safety nets. I believe we should put those into, I think the private sector does a lot better job. I think the religious organizations, the private organizations do a much better job on the ground being able to provide the actual needs of the people in that community than the federal government ever would. But I understand why we would have a safety net. But if that safety net becomes a hammock, you become weak, you become sickly, you become destitute and hopeless. And that hopelessness is generational. It becomes generational. Yeah, I know, Loretta. I read that article. I'm very excited about it. Greek doctor says patients who smoke hair have a higher survival rate from COVID-19. Watch all the sheep start smoking. Right? Right? You know, there's so many things we don't know, not just about this virus, but about life. We're still learning about how to be healthy people, how to get through life, how to, what's going to kill you and how bad it's going to kill you. And we've let doctors pretty much control society for a long time, starting from when we had them all kick the cigarettes out of the bars and then kick them out of from the doors of the bars. We had to go further and further, even though we're outside. This idea that they can control our behavior because it affects our health and the health of others has been coming for a while. Has been coming for a while. Yeah. Yeah. So we are seeing the results of that kind of faith in the medical community. Now, because of the fact that we are seeing on the reopen side of the fence, so much information coming out, so many epidemiologists, doctors. We've seen the videos from the two epidemiologists. Janet, so good to see you. We've seen Dr. Shiva, who's an epidemiologist. We've seen so many experts taking the actual data and analyzing the actual data. What we're discovering, of course, with that actual data, it's nothing like what the predictions were from Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birch and the CDC and the World Health Organization. Those predictions were 100 times greater. 100 times, if not more so, greater than what we're actually seeing as actual numbers. And that's with the padding of the numbers, with what we all know as well to be true, the CDC's order that coroners should fill out the death certificate if COVID antibodies are present as a COVID death. Even if a piano fell on you, okay? If you were walking along, right? You were walking along in a Tom and Jerry cartoon for some reason. I don't know why you're in a Tom and Jerry cartoon, but you're walking along. Piano falls out the window, crushes you. Boom. You die. You die. Go to the hospital. They test you. You didn't have any cough. You didn't have any fever. You've never had any symptoms. You're completely asymptomatic. You tested for the COVID. They say you have the antibodies. You died from COVID. That's how they're counting the deaths. Ignore the fact that you have piano crushing you. Now, people are going to say, "Oh, you're exaggerating." I'm actually probably being entirely accurate. If we've had a death from the piano, the accidental death being counted as COVID is documented. Documented in the state of Vermont, for example, an infant was claimed to have had the COVID, the coronavirus, the SARS-CoV-2 virus. They called it a COVID death. Okay, in the state of Vermont. The infant was actually accidentally suffocated. It was an accidental death. The parents came forward to the public to reveal the truth of the death. The governor, who had openly talked about the death publicly, lied publicly and said that this was a COVID death when we know fully well that it was an accidental suffocation. The governor had to come and rescind that. Had to come and rescind it. So, yeah, Pritzker admitted it today. Correct. Well, Pritzker's starting to get some legal action against him. We're starting to see legal action now against him. So I'm very proud to see, part of what builds the ability to get to where we have folks who are willing to engage in legal action is folks like us who are willing to continue to push the message, continue to make the phone calls, and to continue to do the civic engagement. So critical and important. So we are setting up the environment for these lawsuits to go forward effectively. We're going to see more and more success of those going forward. I know, Dennis, right? Jenna says, I'm actually a smoker. I'm 70. I said the same thing the other day, jesting. It might be true. Smoking for some is good. Hey, this, we still don't understand how the Ozark dude who smokes, 15 pipes a day and a gallon of whiskey every day, we still don't know how he lives longer than everybody else. Might be gumption. There's a lot we don't know. And that's exactly what we see when it comes to how the medical community is treating us right now. The natural reality of our immune system. How's it going, Valerie? The natural reality of sunlight being a disinfectant. The natural reality of exercise and sunshine and fresh air and herd immunity and exposing how we have dealt with all of this since the beginning of time used to be much, much more individualized. As we are seeing letting doctors make more and more rules for us, now we have doctors basically controlling our whole life. We need to back it all the way up is what we need to do. So frankly, shutdowners, be warned. I'm not going to stop, but just we need to reopen our businesses. I'm not pushing back against all of it. We need to reopen our businesses. We need to rescind the smoking laws. You guys, the non-inside smoking laws, put the ventilators in. We need to put smoke back in bars, all of it. You guys have taken it too far. I'm reclaiming our world. If it takes me the rest of my life, I'm reclaiming this world from these doctors that we have put in on this pedestal to tell us what to do and now control our very existence, whether or not we can work, whether or not we can eat, whether or not we can move freely, gather, go to church. That's what we've done. That's what we've done. Yes, the rest of this is 100% true. It's proven fact. Doctors are being mandated to put COVID-19 related on death certificates so they can get money from the government and boost numbers. That is correct. That is correct. Some of the medical stimulus, the Democrats put that in. It's designed to pay for these cases, and they get a lot of money for it. They get a lot of money for it. Yes, this is actually 100%. With all the numbers published daily, they should also be publishing nothing confidential. Of course, the numbers of CV patients in hospital. Right. People literally think they're all, yes. Yeah. The hospitals are not all full. The hospitals are not all full. Yeah, see, and this, when you think we're just saying stuff, Valerie's husband is a doctor. Got the same mandate. So, people agree. They do think they're full. People think all this stuff is going on. That's one of the things I've loved about Worldometers, worldometers.net or .info perhaps. Just Google Worldometers. They are doing some great data collection and disseminating of information on their site, and they will break it down for death, not cases that are intensive care. About 5% of the cases, are intensive care, are at real risk, and about 95% of the cases are not. So it's very interesting to see those numbers when you look at that, because yes, we may have 100 cases in your county, 1,000 cases in your city, but how many of those, if 95% of those cases are not hospitalized and are not in any way critical care, they're at home convalescing. So out of 100 cases, 5 people are in the hospital. Out of 1,000 cases, 50 people in the hospital. But we have whole cities shut down. We have whole industries being crushed. We can't get our food supply is being damaged. It's absolutely ridiculous. And what's becoming more and more obvious? Yeah, and 5 in the NC, and this is what concerns me. 5 in the ICU because their appendix ruptured because they were scared to come in. This is what concerns me. There are medical needs that need to be treated before they become an emergency situation. We are only treating patients that are at risk of death, emergency. In these hospitals where we continue to have, and this is the majority of hospitals nationwide, where we continue to have no non-essential, other they call it non-essential. At this point, you have to have a critical break. If you break your arm, okay, and you can't get the x-ray, if it's not crooked, you're not even going to get in to get an x-ray. They're all closed down. So it takes a critical break. It takes a critical injury. You have to actually seriously have harmed yourself to get into a hospital nowadays. So, yeah, and of course, yes, this is a good point, Janet. Stock market doing well, health industry, pharma making money, oil companies broke. Yeah, we're going to struggle with the oil companies for a little while because of the OPEC situation where they dumped a great deal of oil. We actually bought up a lot of that oil and used it to fill the strategic reserves, bringing the oil price back up. But we need oil to be $30 a barrel here in the United States in order for our oil industry to make money. We're just going to Google oil barrel price. Crude oil price today, $16.20. That's up 5.54% on the day. But we're half of what we need to actually make money in this country on oil. So we're going to see a lot of oil drilling, a lot of the oil industry on hold until that price comes back up. And what will take that price up? The economy getting turned back on. What has brought that price of oil down so much, in addition to the dumping of the oil, was lowered demand. How's it going, Carol? Good to see you. Extremely lowered demand. Yes, McCormick Place is still empty. Okay. Keep in mind, it's Chicago. It's April. It's still cold. We're still using heat. We heat these big places. Even just natural gas to heat these locations is already significantly less needed, less consumption. So the factories that need fuel to stay open and to function, all of these, the airlines who are doing minimal flights because there's like 2 people on a plane. These are all people who buy oil, who buy gasoline, who the energy market is going to be a critical factor in their pricing and their ability to run economics, to run the economic success of their business. So get the businesses turned back on, the oil consumption will go up. The oil consumption will go up. Yeah, Tammy, let's talk about the meats are saying. Tammy says, what about our meats? Our chicken, I heard China all over the world is going to be setting the United States. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with the food chain. We've shut down a lot of the processing plants here because we do have a lot of Chinese work. We actually have some hotspots in the plants because in some cases they had Chinese dignitaries come to the plant back during January, right when the whole, yeah. So absolutely. It's very interesting as we watch the whole mess unfold, what we're seeing and how, out of all the locations, would you think that a meat packing plant in Missouri would be a hotspot? Would you think that a meat packing plant in Oregon, one hotspot in Oregon, the vast majority of the state, no cases whatsoever, one hotspot, and this meat packing plant? Very suspicious, right? Very suspicious. We are seeing, I will say it 100 times. We are seeing a direct and very organized attack against our country. Our president is fighting a war with the silent enemy. When he says a silent enemy, he does not mean the virus. I know we all want to think it's the virus. It's the whole enemy. It's the virus. It's the manipulation of the data. It's this enemy we're fighting. We know that they have used the World Health Organization. You know that they are using fear and intimidation tactics to continue to suppress Americans' ability to get back to work. They're doing everything they can to break our food chain. They're doing everything they can to undermine our economic stability. That's why they want us to stay shut down longer. That's why they want us to stay shut down longer. It's not because we're saving anybody's lives. We're not saving lives by being shut down anymore. We're actually costing lives. We have long since, in fact, probably tipped over from the beginning, because the numbers that we base this shutdown on are so extremely wrong, so way overblown. The curve was never above hospital capacity. We never at any point were at risk of exceeding hospital capacity. Not at 1 minute. Not even in our hotspots. Not even in New York, which has the most cases across the country by far. So we were never at risk of overwhelming our hospitals. And we shut down the economy for nothing. For nothing. This was an act, an insider attack of terrorism coordinated through the World Health Organization, through manipulation of the CDC, and who had the CDC might have caused and manipulated and controlled the whole situation. Fauci. I'm just saying, who it could possibly, Dr. Fauci. Yeah. So we're being operated against. We are continuing. Now, here's the interesting thing. They're losing. I'm going to tell you something, some great news. They're losing the battle. What? What are you saying, Suzzanne? They're not losing the battle. We're all shut down everywhere. People can't go to restaurants. People can't get. They're continuing to drag this out. It's. People are losing their jobs. The economy is getting. We're seeing all these devastating effects. They're losing the battle. And you know how I know? Because we're seeing more and more patriots be ready to go out and defend their rights. We're seeing more and more patriots push back. We're seeing less and less people fearful, actual people who are fearful enough that they are literally there fear shaming you. Fear shaming means they come out, they talk on your page, you post, I want to reopen the country. They come in, oh, you're going to kill grandma. You need to be careful. We need to, they're fearful. They're fearful. So they try to shame you into being fearful, right? The people that have started that in the beginning were they might have said, we need to listen to the president. We need to listen to the experts. Many of those folks have gone from over here to we're scared. We want to shut down. Now they've seen the economic devastation. They've seen the new numbers. They're seeing the data. They're starting to see all of what we were telling them the whole time about is all of the details, false information, way overblown predictions, scientific information that they're ignoring, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now they're over here. So you know what they're having to do in order to frighten people like you and me, activists who are actually working hard to reopen the country? They're right back to their little lefty terrorist tactics that they've had since the beginning. The troll brigades. The troll brigades. Yeah, Valerie, this is a great point. Valerie's obviously in the medical profession. She says, I gave it a chance because I worked ER with H1N1, with SARS, etc. But this is BS. And that's what's happened. You know, when it was unknown, people were nervous. We listened to experts, we listened to their predictions. Some of us did some math. We're like, these predictions are ridiculous. It's not even humanly possible. Why do they think these are? But anyways, okay. But as it's unfolded, their lack of reality has become more and more and more obvious. So they're losing everybody. And now they're left with the same lefty trolls. So the folks that we're seeing now, you're seeing the troll brigades, the ones who call you names, the ones who tell you should die from the virus, the ones who mock you for being a Trump supporter, the ones with the same memes. They show the same stupid meme over and over. They've seen the meme, the don't tread on me with the little mask guy. I have so many of them. So they're all the same. They're so unoriginal. So we have the troll brigades. We've also gotten into, and this is interesting this week, they've gotten into directly harassing folks who are open about organizing these events. So I am working with Reopen America has endorsed the Oregon Reopen Rally. Reopen Oregon is having a rally. We love our Oregonians. We love our great patriots out there in Oregon, all of our Oregon women for Trump. We love all those ladies. I'm a huge fan of my Oregonians, my Oregonian patriots. So, yes, of course, when the Reopen Oregon group reached out to me and said, we would love for you to sponsor or endorse our event, I'm like, we're happy to endorse your event. We'll share it. We're glad to do that. So, of course, they put on the flyer. We got our name out there with them. We've done a little bit of news articles again on that. And, of course, now we have started to get prank calls, prank emails. They've signed me up for every single Joe Biden tweets. I get all of it now because of these little, it's just basic harassment. Now today, I have to share this story with you because it's actually funny. And I hope they're actually watching. I hope my little trolls are actually watching because, wow, it's really funny. And I want them to know how fucking hilarious I think, excuse my language, they were. So I'm sitting down there making dinner for our friends who are coming over, and I'm just getting restricted number, call. And it took me a minute to figure out how I block restricted numbers on my phone. So I'm just like, no. Okay. But it's every 3 minutes for about 45 minutes, over and over and over. Probably I'm just like, I can't, whatever. So I answer one of these little calls. You guys. Okay. The guy on the other end, he goes, the coronavirus. Like this in the whispery voice. Coronavirus is coming for you. This is what he's doing. COVID. And you could tell. And so I let him do it for a while. And now what's funny is when you notice, like even right now while I'm doing it, coronavirus. It's hard to whisper for a long time, but I let him go. I'm like, and so you can hear him kind of like, his throat's starting to get a little funny. 2 minutes, I let him go. It's coming. It's coming for you. Until I laughed openly. I laughed openly. Laughed openly. The guy's a great one, you guys. It was actually hilarious. It's like remember when you were a kid and you would call and ask if people's refrigerators were running, and then you would laugh and laugh. It's like that. But it was like that plus heavy breathing plus coronavirus. So it was like, coronavirus is coming. How is it coming? It's not Freddy Krueger. It was hilarious. I literally, in my mind, imagined a whole, scary movie style experience going on. Absolutely. I want to put this up on the screen, Valerie. I appreciate this. Valerie says, and I have to give credit and love. Suzzanne and I had discussions early on. That's right. We did. We had early discussions. We didn't agree 100%. And I said, this is so important because I never tell people, I'm never mad. We can disagree. I'm like, you know what? That's fine. I know what I know. You'll figure it out or you won't. It'll be good. But we're all good. I said, it's okay. You'll be back. I did say that. I said that exactly. I never left. We didn't go anywhere. She's right back here. So I appreciate you saying that. And I appreciate you mentioning my patience on the issue. I'm actually a pretty patient person. So that's the call I actually got today making dinner. That's the call I got today making dinner. This coronavirus. So I hung up. I figured out how to block restricted numbers eventually. But there's a ton of, let's see if we can pull up one of the earlier voicemails. Let's see if I can plug it in. Maybe you can hear a little bit of, we'll see what we can do. Excuse me. That's what happens when the music automatically plays. The little rockabilly. All right, let's go back over here to the voicemail. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. The earliest one, there's like 30. I kid you not. Let's see. No, this is when they were just making rough sounds. Let's see if there's any longer one. There was one that was like 20 seconds, and it was kind of stupid. Here, this is 16 seconds. Let's see what this one says. No, I can't find the good one. That still says Corona virus. But then, of course, a few little more, a few, this. This isn't even a prank call. This is just really annoying. Let's listen to this.
Hi, this is Michelle Obama. On behalf of Mayor Bowser, I wanted to share information on free coronavirus testing for District of Columbia residents experiencing symptoms. If you or a member of your household is experiencing fever, cough, sore throat, difficulty breathing, congestion, body aches, chills, runny nose, please contact your medical provider immediately. You can schedule a free testing appointment by contacting your medical provider or calling the DC hotline at 1-855.
Michelle, let me explain something to you, Michelle. I am allergic to bad government. Okay, I am allergic to you and your husband, to commie criminals and traitors. I'm allergic to traitors. So listening to this message is going to give me the sneeze and runny nose, body aches. I'm already aching right now just from what I've listened to. Jesus Louise, Michelle Obama is going to give me the corona. Michelle Obama and her messages are going to give me the corona. This is what I'm talking about. I wanted to do tonight's show specifically talking about what they're doing to make you fear. And now they've gotten to the point where all they have is the typical Democrat playbook. Little kids in their basement calling to give you prank calls, troll brigades with bots telling you you're all going to die from the coronavirus. The coronavirus is coming to get you. And of course, Michelle Obama, yes, Mr. Robinson, and yes, it was Michael. That was Michael. Letting me know I can get tested because I should be afraid. I should be afraid to get tested. I should find out if I have the antibodies. If you have the antibodies, then you can feel safe. Then you can go around but see, this is the whole thing. This is what I find ridiculous. They constantly, how's it going, Jen? They constantly want to tell you that you can be asymptomatic. Okay. Well, that's kind of what having the antibodies is. You can have the virus, you're building up the antibodies, you don't have any symptoms. How are they, if you're asymptomatic, how are they aware whether you have the virus still or if you just build up the antibodies? It's all stupid. It's not how any of this works. Carol Harder from Big Mac today too. That's good. I'm not surprised they're over here in DC. I'm a little bit surprised they're down in North Carolina way. It's very, very hilarious. You're very welcome, Tammy. You're very, very welcome. So here's why we don't need to be afraid anymore. We know the data. We are now vetting again and again the medical information. So many people are getting the medical information out there. We know the numbers. We are seeing the numbers come down. Continue to make sure you re-educate and constantly educate yourself because these numbers are what you use to push back against these false information, this terrorizing, both from the individuals on the internet that we're going to see as we're continuing to use social media, but from our governments ourselves. That was Muriel Bowser. Muriel Bowser made sure that Michelle Obama left a voicemail on my phone, okay, to tell me I should be afraid I should go get tested. And then if I wanted to get tested, it would be free. We all should get tested. Everybody in GC should be tested because, once we're tested, it's not like you can get the disease after you're tested, right? Right? Oh, wait, you can? What is testing going to do, you guys? What is testing going to do? Okay. I go out, I get a test, I go to work, I get exposed to other people. I could get, if the test is negative, the day I could leave the building where I got the test and have contracted the virus from the place where I got the test. I would not have the virus when they tested me. I could have actually gotten the virus from the testing place. This is how dumb testing is. This is how dumb contact tracing is. Okay? It's not going to work. You can't keep track of every single person that every single person might have been near within a 6-foot range. We're not Eagle Eye. We don't have the technology. We cannot rebuild him. Cannot. We don't have it. So the idea that they want to, it is merely a mechanism control. They tell you they're going to be able to contact trace you. It's really just to trace yourself. Now, they have an app. There's a COVID app. You guys, did you know this? There's a COVID app. You can get this. You can sign up for the COVID app. And what it will do is it will tell you if you're too far away from your house, and then it will yell at you and tell you to go home. I'm not kidding you. That's the app. Doesn't that sound like a stupid app? Why would I download? Why would I download? Yep. We're working on finding apps in your area. COVID-19 tracker. Oh, they haven't yet figured out. Oh, but look. We're working on finding apps in your area. For the latest information about the coronavirus, you can visit the World Health Organization. It may be, Jenna. It may be the collect DNA from every test. It's possible. It's the same basic process. And Karen, it's very interesting. There were early tests that were released from the CDC that we literally gave hospitals infected tests. They already had the virus in it. So even if we didn't give people the virus, we gave their test the virus. I know, I'm not downloading Karen, the voice of reason and all this. I'm not downloading anything like that. Why would I? I know. That's the stupidest thing. When I saw the app, I'm like, so you have an app that tracks my every movement. I have to put in it whether I'm COVID positive or not. And then the app is going to now tell me, oh, you're more than 20 kilometers away from your house. You should go back home. I don't want my mama tell me that, let alone an app. An app. And they're going to advertise it to me. Advertise to me on the app all the time. Yeah, also serious. iPhones, this is a good point. This is a good point, Valerie. Also serious. iPhones and Androids can take your temperature, usually with a cardio or such health app. I've tried it for blood pressure, but they are taking temperatures through phones. Yeah, listen, when will the homeless? I don't know with them. I don't know. We still have a reasonable amount of homeless here, but I have heard people having concerns all across the country, certainly all across the country. So when we're bringing out the usual players, when we're bringing out the little Antifa trolls, when we're bringing out the kids making crank phone calls, when we're bringing out the troll brigades, when we're bringing out Michelle Hussein Obama, okay, to tell you to go get tested, you have to start to see that this is not this is a partisan response. The partisan effort to shut down is Democrat run. For the vast majority, the Republicans are not down with this. The reopening states are predominantly run by Republicans. The reopening cities are predominantly run by Republicans. The place where they, where they have governors that have been in blue, the purple states, those local red areas are pushing back extensively against the governors. So the governors are the ones keeping the shutdowns. And we're going to see that more and more. It's going to continue to become more and more obvious that the only people who want to remain shut down are the Democrats. The Democrats are going to send their same little minions, their same little trolls, their same little bots as they have since the beginning. Okay? Nothing new. Nothing new under the sun. People have gotten worried. Oh, the journalists, if we do these protests, if we go out, the journalists are going to say we're killing people and we're causing hate and death. Have you been in this movement with me for the last 3 years at all? Do you not recall We're the ones causing increased attacks on black people. We're creating more racism. We're creating more violence in the inner cities. We're creating violence at Trump rallies, even though it was literally the left would show up and commit acts of violence against us. But we're creating that. We're creating violence of people getting beat up in MAGA hats. The whole Jussie Smollett syndrome. Somehow it's all our fault. Even though all we have done is try to make the country great. We have elected a president, Donald J. Trump. They don't like him because he's not one of their little buddies. And we want to continue to make the country great and reelect him. And they don't want it. They didn't want it in the beginning. They don't want it now. This new tactic of the virus, of the panic, of the fear shaming, and the germo-fascism. In other words, using the government to control people to prevent the spread of germs, not even physically possible. Okay, you can't hide in your house from a virus that the doctors know it, everybody knows it. It was never the intention that we were going to stop the spread of the virus. It was all to slow down the spread of the virus. You lock people in their homes, you slow down the spread. You don't stop it, you don't make it less, you just slow down how many people at any given time have it. You're not saving any lives from staying in. No one ever said you were saving lives from staying in. Staying home is not saving lives. It never was. It never, ever, ever was. The only reason it was suggested that staying home was saving lives, because if the hospitals got overwhelmed, then people would die because the hospitals were overwhelmed. But the hospitals are not and have never been overwhelmed. Not one time. Not one time. So, Dennis makes a very good point. I'm going to bring this up. And how come they never came up with a vaccine for the common cold or flu, and we still have to buy all those products every season? And they have a different flu vaccine, actually, Dennis, every year. But this is the thing. There are many different viruses that cause the common cold or flu. Many coronaviruses that cause the common cold or flu. Those viruses, okay, every year, some are more prolific. They have more. They spread further. Some only infect a few people. So when they make a flu vaccine, what they do is they think, okay, what we're gonna guess. They use their numbers, little predictions. You see how well the predictions do. We're gonna guess which of the flu viruses that are out there right now is going to be big this year. It's going to be very high on the infection rate this year. And we're going to make a vaccine for that virus. Well, sometimes they're wrong. In fact, often they're wrong. Sometimes a completely different virus is the one that becomes more prolific. And so your flu shot doesn't even do anything for that virus. You still get the flu. People are like, I take the flu shot. I still got the flu. Well, yeah, it's a different flu. There's not one flu every year. It's not like they pick and they have a vote. All right, only this flu virus can get the flu, give people the flu this year. So each and every year it's a gamble. And each and every year there are many cases of the flu that aren't protected from any vaccine they make because it's a different virus. Nothing is going to be different about this virus. It's novelty, it's newness, it's a novel virus. In other words, a virus we haven't seen before. So human beings have not built up immunity. I actually am starting to find that pretty ridiculous. I find it very interesting that we have the SARS-CoV-1 virus. I would love to do some studies as to whether or not people who have immunity to SARS-CoV-1 show up as having antibodies for SARS-CoV-2. That would be very interesting. I would love to do some research as to whether or not people who have antibodies for other coronaviruses, are those showing up as antibodies for SARS-CoV-2? Very, very interesting questions that need to continue to be studied. The reality of the situation is, as we're exposed to a novel virus, we develop herd immunity. That's what herd immunity means. We're exposed to something new. Enough people are exposed to it who do not develop deathly symptoms. They start to build up immunity. They now do not contract the virus and then carry it. Their immune system immediately kills off the virus, rejects the virus, so they no longer can carry it to our more vulnerable populations. That is what herd immunity means. Yes, Valerie, thank you. Correct. We're talking about flu viruses. Correct. It's the top four, and percentage is typically 10 to 60% for all, and every year the flu, A, B, etc. mutate. They guess. That's what they do. So if they haven't been able to figure out how to fix the flu for the flu we get all the time, why would you possibly believe they can do it for this? But Bill Gates can make a lot of money doing that. And he has done this in the past. He's done this to Africa. He's done this to other nations. And this is why they're happy to play the trolls. They're happy to pay the little leftists. And frankly, we're going to see the more we become confident in our ability to continue to protest, to reach out to our government, to control and manipulate the situation, the more ridiculous they're going to be. So I suspect I will get a few more phone calls from random individuals who want to tell me the coronavirus, it's coming to get you. And I hope I do, because it just shows to remind me we're winning this battle. Please, everybody, keep up the good work. We're going to have a great event here this weekend. Friday next, our Friday show will be at right down in downtown DC at Freedom Plaza. We're going to be going live from there. We're going to be going live in front of the White House. We're going to be out in front doing our part. So we're very excited to do that. And Dennis, I disagree. And this is one of the points I made of this show, and put this here. Problem is there's more of them than there. No, that's the myth. You feel like there's more of them than there are of us because they send troll brigades. One, you start to trace all those bots. You start to look at all the one person is handling 10, 20, 30 of these bots. So what you're seeing on the internet, not their numbers at all. Not their numbers at all. What you're seeing with the polls, not their numbers at all. Because when you look at the reality of the situation, when you look at the economics, how many people have been out of work, people are desperate to get back to work. We are losing the fear more and more. The larger and larger percentage of individuals are deeply, deeply ready to get back to work. And it really depends on the various states. So there are not more of the shutdowners than there are reopeners. There are more reopeners than there are shutdowners. The problem is, it's the same thing with Trump supporters. The reason we have President Trump, they could always say, oh, well, there's more lefties than there are us. No, there's more us. That's why we got the president. But there are so many who are afraid. And so they hold their position quietly. They don't talk about it. They don't come out about it. They don't post about it on the internet. They're not active like us. But that iceberg, for every one of us that's loud, there's 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 that's quiet. So hopefully what we can do is unquiet some of those folks, not necessarily to become social media folks, to become podcasters, activists, etc., but solely to become citizens, to engage their government, to engage their politicians, to do their civic duty, which is to be the boss of our representatives, of our elected officials. You are their boss. They work for you. Every now and then, you have to evaluate the employees, and not just at the ballot box, okay? Not just at bonus time. Not just when we're renegotiating the contracts. That's not the only time you want to give your employees feedback. You want to give your employees feedback on a regular basis, particularly when they're not doing well at their job. So now when you see our employees operating with complete oblivion as to what their job is, what they're supposed to be doing, what their responsibility is, and their responsibility is to protect this bad boy right here. That's the bad boy they're supposed to be protecting. That's their responsibility. Since they're not doing that, it's our job to let them know we're not happy with their performance. That's our job. It's literally, job is not just to vote. You know, it's funny, people are like, oh, you vote. You vote. That's all we can really do. No, you only vote every 2 years. Unless you're Virginia, vote every year, but it's stupid. Or every 4 years. Okay? But in between then, you need to do this. Yes, at least call, write, etc. Of course. That's your job as a citizen. So let's keep it up, folks. We are making real progress. It is happening. We are opening up the states. There are restaurants in Georgia serving food. You guys, things are changing back to a functional economy again. We're going to have a lot of work to get done. There's going to be a lot of things that we realize we broke pretty bad, perhaps permanently. But certainly the first step, step number one is get people back to work, out of this world of fear where we let doctors tell us what to do and keep us in our homes based on unrealistic predictions with models and plans, pandemic management plans that have never been tested, never been tried, have no scientific basis whatsoever. We have never in the history of the world shut down the economy for a disease. There is a reason why. And now we know the reason why. And we're going to spend, for some of us, our golden years, unfortunately, fixing that now that we have figured it out again. Sadly enough, we probably could have figured it all out before any of this if you guys had just paid attention in math, in biology, and in history. We wouldn't have had to do this all over again. We wouldn't have had to. Hi, Jeanette. You're right. We wouldn't have had to do it all over again. This is why history repeats itself. You know, they always say history repeats itself. I've figured out why. Because people don't learn. You don't learn. It's the only reason history repeats itself. If you would learn history, it would stop repeating itself. So let's make that happen. Folks, that is our show for today. Please keep informed of what we're doing on the Reopen America page, reopenamerica.info. That's our page here on Facebook. You can also go to our website. I'm building a brand new website, so it's going to be really exciting, reopenamerica.org. We'll tell you the site we have up right now we'll still tell you everything about our organization, but it's getting a little prettier over the next day or so. So we're excited to share that with you. We're going to have a great event Friday and Saturday, 24 hours of loving freedom, supporting our president, and supporting our economy, letting folks know across the country that we here in Washington, D.C., and we patriots, we nationwide patriots, we Reopen America stands with each and every state, each and every county, each and every city that is reopening. We stand with you. Until next time, y'all, this is your girl, Suzzanne Monk. As always, you guys, tripping out.